here for a lifetime underneath the moonlight. Cause I don't want us to go. No, I don't want us to go. Yeah, you could be my lifeline, you could be my sunshine. In a world so full of pain, can you make it go away? Used to be so sad, thought love was lost, but now it's here to stay. Yeah, I used to be uncomfortable, but look at me today. Never thought I'd find someone like you, someone to show the way. But now I know you're the answer to my prayer. You and me must be right. Something's in the air, I can feel it now. You and me must do something right. We can't get enough of us. You and me every night, aiming for the stars with the love so bright. You and me must do something right. Baby, I believe in us. I believe in you and me, you and me, you and me, you and me, yeah. I believe in you and me, you and me, you and me, you and me, yeah. I'm sorry for the burden, sorry I was hurting, but my scars are almost healed. Yeah, my scars are almost healed. Yeah, I'm feeling like a child now. Everything's alright now, and it's all because of you. You made the flower in me bloom. Used to be afraid of everything, but now there's no more fear. Yeah, I used to let nobody in and hide my face with tears. Always thought of you as someone who can love someone like me, but I was wrong. Baby, now I believe. You and me must be right. Something's in the air, I can feel it now. You and me must do something right. We can't get enough of us. You and me every night, aiming for the stars with the love so bright. You and me must do something right. Baby, I believe in us. I believe in you and me, you and me, you and me, you and me, yeah. I believe in you and me, you and me, you and me, you and me, yeah. You and me must be right. Something's in the air, I can feel it now. You and me must do something right. We can't get enough of us. You and me every night, aiming for the stars with the love so bright. You and me must do something right. Baby, I believe in us. I believe in you and me, you and me, you and me, you and me, yeah. I believe in you and me, you and me, you and me, you and me, yeah.
Hey, hey. 3, 2, 1. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the Danae Show. I am Danielle Danea, aka Danae, and I've got a lot to say. So let's get into it. So today we're talking about the Breakfast Club interview that just recently happened with a woman named Dank Demoss, a rapper named Dank Demoss. She's from Detroit. Her real name is Deja. It's so funny. She pronounces it Deja, but it's spelled Dajua. I don't know. I wouldn't have pronounced that Deja, but she pronounced it as Deja on the show. Deja Blanding. And yeah, we're gonna get into this interview because this woman is clearly delusional. I mean, all the rhetoric that was said in this interview, I was laughing. I was just like, oh my gosh, you can't really believe this. But I'm also mad at the hosts of these shows. If you don't watch The Breakfast Club, Just Hilarious, who else? Charlamagne the God and DJ Envy hosts this show. And I'm just mad they're just feeding into this delusion. But Anyway, I'm going to break down the whole story, so let's get into it. So, again, this rapper is named Dank Demoss. This is her stage name. She's from Detroit. She's a Detroit rapper. She's pretty well known. I looked her up on Instagram. I never heard of her before this story for this interview, but she has 179,000 followers on Instagram, so very big following. And this woman filed, oh guys, she filed a lawsuit based on discrimination against a Lyft driver because the Lyft driver refused to allow her to get into her car. He locked the doors. He was like, He saw how big she was, and he was like, no, you're not getting into my car. You're not going to mess up my car. And she took out her phone, recorded this. Now, mind you, if you look up this woman, this woman is very big. It wasn't like, oh, she's a little overweight. No, this woman is obese, extremely obese. I looked up her weight. Google's so interesting because it was telling me like a range of, 489 pounds is how much she weighed to like 500 something. But she's somewhere in the middle of that. She's not more than 600, but around that weight. So she is not that tall. So that is very, very big for her height, for anyone really. But she's not even tall. So really, really big. So yeah. She, like I said, she's filing a lawsuit of discrimination saying, it was messed up. It was just like, instance if her, like a instance of racism too, like if he didn't want to allow her to get into her car because she was black, it was kind of the same thing, which it wasn't. But anyway, she recorded the incident on her phone and she went viral. And now all these people were talking about this happened like a little over a week ago. But this interview just recently happened. So again, I wanted to more talk about the interview because it really showcased how she really thinks. Because the complaint, filing the complaint or the lawsuit already showed this woman kind of delusional. But this really got into the way she thought and how delusional she really is. So that's why I wanted to cover this interview. So it's so funny so I watched the whole thing. It's like 30 minutes long, but it's funny. Like Shaver posted like little clips of it on their page, and I saw little pieces, but I wanted to watch the whole video. But it's so funny. A lot of these platforms didn't show this intro, and I can understand why. When she comes in, she sits in the normal chair, the same chair that everybody else is sitting at, and she's like, guys, y'all got a bigger chair than this? Like, what's going on? Like, it was almost disrespectful that they had a regular chair. She was like, this is crazy. And then Charlamagne is like, what you need? And then they bring out this big old couch in the back, like meant to sit like 4 or 5 people. And she's like, yes, this is what I need. Be dang accommodating. Like, they should have had that out before she even came in there. Like it was disrespectful for them to think that she could fit in a normal chair, which, I mean, they've seen her before, and it's kind of like, they should have known she needed a bigger chair. But the entitlement, the disgust she had in her voice, it was just like, girl, no, you are huge. You are huge. And, you should have brought your own chair. Like, no, like it's not normal for, people to podcast to accommodate somebody who's 3 times the normal size of a regular person. So I was like, oh, this interview is already going to be some ish talking about y'all need to be accommodating. Yeah, this interview, a lot of what she was saying, and what irritates me is it seemed like in the beginning, there was this other woman there, I don't know her name, that was also interviewing her on The Breakfast Show. But it just seemed like they were feeding into her delusion a lot during this interview, like playing nice. And I know they had to keep it respectful. They don't want the guests to feel offended or disrespected. But at the same time, it's like, don't feed into this. Like, don't make it seem like what she's saying makes sense if it doesn't make sense. Call that out. Be like, oh, nope, I don't believe you. And that's not true. Like, call it out. And there were some instances where they did, which I'm going to get into. But again, I just hate that this woman is even on this interview to begin with. Why are we even making this woman famous off of, her filing a discrimination lawsuit when it's not discrimination? The guy just didn't want his car to get damaged. It's just crazy in that instance. But anyway, we're here. So again, it just seems like them, again, feeding into her delusion. It's like we're accepting lack of discipline, accepting a mental illness, accepting a disorder. Like Candace Owens said it so best. She was like, it's one thing. She was talking about, transgender people, getting mad when you misgender them. It's like, no, it's one thing when you're delusional. You do what you want to do. You're your own person. I can't control you. You go through life saying you're a rabbit when you're a human being. Cool. But the line gets drawn when you now command me to accept your delusion into my life. You're now demanding this Lyft driver to accept your delusion into his life and to, be nice about it. It's like, no, you can be delusional all by yourself, but you can't make somebody else feed into that, your ideas. You can't do that. We're not asking you to do that. Don't ask us to do that. So yeah, it's literally a mental illness. People hate to say it. People get so offended by the truth, but being obese is if you talk to anybody that's extremely obese, they suffer from depression. They suffer from all these things that they need to go to a doctor and they need to talk to somebody and help them get through whatever it is they're going through. Like, it's not normal to be that big. Again, obese is different from being a little bit overweight. I'm not talking about a little beer belly, guys. I'm not talking about a little plumper breast after you have a baby, or a little bit of a bigger thigh or butt because you had a kid as well. I'm talking about extremely overweight, excessive eating, no exercise. This woman had me dying talking about she's exercised. She exercises all the time. It's like, it's so funny. I just put up a video the other day. It's like, it is said, I don't trust people who go to the gym all year and is still fat. Like, what are you doing? Where are the results? It was so funny. He was like, where are the results? He said it like that. And I was just like, facts. How do you go to the gym all the time and are still fat and are not just fat, obese? And again, I know it's definitely more about your diet than it is about you working out. But if you're burning she was making it seem like she was in the gym all the time. If you're going to the gym as much as you are, you don't have time to be eating as much as you could to get that weight, So again, delusion. A lot of what she said was lies, but again, we just think so many people, including the people on the Breakfast Club, think it's just funny, entertaining. We laugh it off and move on. It's like, no, like we're seeing it as a joke, but they are so serious about what they think they believe to be true. And it's just like, no, we have to tell them it's not, because again, when we don't, we got to bring shame back. When we don't shame people for doing stuff that's shameful, it becomes the new normal. And you don't want your kids running around thinking it's okay to think like this. Okay? In the interview, it was also funny. I saw straight up that she was like, I don't want to say the F word. And it was so funny. Like, Charlamagne and Jess were like, what's the F word? And I think Charlamagne was a little more confused. And I think Jess answered for her. She was like, yeah, the word fat. She don't use that word. It's not good. She was like, I don't like that word. It's messed up. He was thinking like it was the cuss word, I think, or something else. But he was like, fat. And what made that so crazy for her, even more crazy for her to say that she didn't want to say the word fat, is she kept saying the word skinny over and over again. She was like, skinny, skinny, skinny. Like, I have a skinny mindset. I didn't grow up skinny. I didn't grow up with a skinny privilege. It's like, okay, but you can say skinny, but you can't say fat? Like, what? Help it make sense. Why didn't you say the S word? Like you said the F word. And to me, looking at it, and to so many smart people looking at it, they're like, oh, we know why you don't want to say the F word. It's because there's shame behind being fat. It's not cute to say that word. It's like when you say a cuss word, it's so funny because she said the F word, and it's like everybody thought it was the actual F word, F-U-C-K. because it's like the same shame you get like when a child cusses accidentally around their parents. It's like, oh crap. It's like that feeling when you say fat. It's like, oh crap. I'm like, oh, I am fat. Oh, that's an ugly word. It's not. There's not anything that bad about being skinny. I know some people take that offense when people call them skinny. I remember I used to when I was growing up. But now I'm like, I love to be called skinny. It's not necessarily, it can be an insult and it cannot be, but fat is an insult all the time. There's no cute fat. There's no compliment of someone saying you're fat. No one takes that as a compliment. So it's like these people know what the truth is, but they get away with saying lies so much. They've now accepted the lies as their truth. And again, we let them get away with it. It's so funny. She did not want to say that word. I was just like, this woman is insane. And this woman, you would think, I thought she was in her maybe early 20s, maybe late 20s. This woman, on the interview, she said she's 29 years old. On the Breakfast Club interview, she said she's 29. But I looked up her age and on Google, and it said she was 36. So I don't know which one she is. Again, it felt like a whole bunch of lies were in this interview. So I'm more likely to believe that she's 36. There were multiple sources that said she was 36. So I don't know, but I'm guessing she's, like I said, she's probably more toward 36 than she is 29. So that's even worse, really, to have this mindset in such an old grown age. It's like, what is going on? Who fed you this delusion? And she mentioned throughout the interview that she's been pretty big her whole life. Her dad was big, her mom was big, and when her dad died, I forget what year she said it was, but she gained an extra 100 something pounds after her dad died, and she was already big, and that's when she was pushing the 600, but she was like, oh, I can't get all the way to 600, that's too much, and kind of stayed within the 500, 400 range. And and she lost the weight eventually when she started getting into rapping and stuff like that. But she basically said she's been obese her whole life. She was even a big baby, and it was so funny. It was so funny. She said the Dank Demoss, the rapper, she said in the interview, when I was little, I didn't do all this stuff, and then Just Hilarious pops in. She was like, you mean when you were younger, right? And she was like, yeah. And she didn't even, it was so funny. It was so quick, but she didn't even catch that was like a low-key diss. Well, high-key, that she was never little. She was just of younger age. She was like, no, you've been big your whole life. Don't use the word little, use the word younger. That had me dying. And throughout the whole interview, she also was using this term, I feel like I shouldn't do this, or I feel like, because they were saying, why didn't you order a bigger car? Why did you, feel like, why did you make it seem like, he had to let you in the car? And she was like, well, I feel. Feelings aren't always valid. And you notice in a lot of these conversations where people are trying to get people to think and use logic, people that don't use logic use their feelings as a response. And that's what she kept saying the whole time. She was responding, well, I feel like I don't got to do this. I feel like, it's like, who cares what you feel? What is real? You can't allow your feelings to override or allow you to be over you so much that you move through life having them, completely, you're so focused and moving throughout life. Lord Jesus. Because they're too unpredictable. They sometimes come when they shouldn't be there. They're all over the place, especially for a woman. So you go through life saying, oh, I'm moving this way because I feel like this is the right way to move. You're always going to struggle. You're always going to be in maybe not a situation exactly like this, but you're going to struggle with people in general, because most hardworking people that, think use their brains throughout their lives. They're not dealing with they're not thinking about your feelings. They don't want to hear it. And they will dismiss you so quickly, just like this guy in the lift. The guy, the lift driver, he was using logic. He looked at her and saw how big she was. She was like, "Oh, dude, she's gonna weigh this car down. This is not, this is not a unbreakable car. This is not my car. I'm renting this. Maybe, I don't know. It might not have been his car. You know, he didn't want to chance it. There's so many factors that he was probably thinking about, reasonable, logical factors that she wasn't thinking about because she was just all in her feelings. She was just upset that he locked the doors and, you know, didn't want to let her in the lift. Freaking ridiculous. So again, if you are around somebody that says I feel all the time, and they're not at freaking therapy, it's not a therapy session you're having with the person, she's probably a problem. She or he is probably a very big problem. Steer clear. But just be mindful of that moving forward. So yeah, that moment with Just Hilarious, where she was like, "You mean when you were younger?" had me crying. And this woman was also saying in the interview that she could fit in smaller cars. I think they specifically said a Prius. She's like, yeah, I grew up when she was talking about how she grew up and she had her big daddy and big mama and siblings all fit into tiny cars. Nobody believed her. It was so funny. Like, nobody believed her. But only throughout the interview, I heard Just Hilarious and Charlamagne the God were like, "Oh, stop the cap," but in like a cute little way, not like really stop the cap, like stop lying, like really stop. But Charlamagne the God, DJ Envy was just like, he didn't say anything, about her, like dismissing whatever she was saying. He was just like, okay, again, placating into whatever she was saying. It was just like, call it out. But DJ Envy is known, if you don't watch the show, like he's pretty much known to be a typically nice guy, unless, you know, he feels disrespected or felt disrespected in the past by one of the guests and calls that out maybe. But typically he's very cool, very mellow, doesn't want no problems. Charlamagne the God is the one that's more of a controversial type person that says what he believes wholeheartedly, and is really the reason why it's so entertaining, because he says what people are afraid to say, right? And then Just Hilarious is new, and she's kind of in the middle, right? But you know, she had Just with the Mess before. I used to love that show. She stopped it, but it was so good because she would just review stuff that was happening in society, in our culture, and give her opinion, but in the funniest way possible, you know, and also said what we all believe to be true, but said it in a way that, you know, made it seem like she was kind of joking, but also very serious. So, yeah. But yeah, again, DJ Envy, I just hated that, you know, he didn't speak more about how crazy this woman sounded. Like, Charlamagne the guy straight up said, "I don't believe you can fit in no Prius." Over and over again. She got to say, I can. I'm trying to prove herself, trying to prove in her mind that she's telling the truth, when looking at her, you know how small Priuses are. She's talking about she can fit in the front and back. And it's just like, I don't think so. I don't think she could fit in there. But again, if I see her physically get into a Prius, I mean, I'd be proven wrong. We all would be, me, Charlamagne, all of us. But, you know, just by looking with our eyes, pretty much, you know, you can tell what fits and what doesn't, what will fit into something, what won't. And she just didn't look like she would fit in a Prius, or most definitely not a smart car. But yeah, again, this woman is hilarious. She said that she doesn't have a big person mindset. She's skinny in her head. And again, it's just the delusion there. It's like almost, again, like this whole, you know, I can identify, like, into going back into gender roles, and, you know, pardon me, like being a certain gender, like, or you say you're a woman, but you're really a man. It's like you could identify as anything nowadays. You could be very obese and be like, well, no, I identify as skinny because I have a skinny mentality. Again, mental disorder. They were asking, like, would you ever want to lose weight? Do you think maybe, you could be a bit more understanding about the Lyft driver not wanting to destroy his car? There was no thinking around, again, her feelings, thinking about any other scenario other than the one she dreamt up in her head. And it's just like, you can't talk to those type of people. There's no going anywhere from that type of conversation because, again, they're so fixated on what they believe to be true and their feelings that they don't see the bigger picture. They don't see anybody else's perspective. They don't want to understand anybody else's feelings about the matter. It's all about them. It's borderline narcissistic. Borderline, but really it's just a mental disorder of straight up selfishness, straight up greed, selfishness and greed. Like this woman, and that's another thing people don't talk about. Like obese people, like they want all this food to themselves. They want to eat it all, and most of them, live alone. Only take care of themselves, don't have any responsibilities. It's like, yo, to be that selfish and be like, I don't care, about what anybody else is saying. It's my body, my choice, and I'm gonna feed myself as much as I want to. It's just, and be all about myself, not lose weight, not tell people. It's so funny. She said she was shopping for clothes before she got into this Lyft, and she was struggling to find something that fit her. And, instead of being like, oh, maybe I need to, lose some weight so stuff will fit me, she's like, oh, they should have had stuff in my size. Again, all about her. It's like, it's the store's fault for not making clothes extremely big for you when most people aren't that big. It's like, no. Gotta pay for more fabric to put on your body to make you feel better about yourself? Get out of here. And you're going to shop at that store one time and not come back. You want them to make a whole bunch of different clothes for you to go through and like some and not like others. And now they're stuck with all this fabric because, again, you went there one time, didn't come back. You don't shop there all the time. And there's nobody else there's nobody else shopping there that often that's as big as you. None of that is going through the back of her head. Or if it is, she doesn't care enough to, admit it or change. Again, scary person to kind of be around. Talking about I identify as skinny in my head. What in the world? Ugh. If it's not one thing, it's another. At first it's identify with my gender. Now it's skinny fat. Like, what's going to be next? We're going to start, I don't know if that's already a thing. Are we going to start identifying as races we're not? I feel like we had already started that, but it hasn't become like super big of a thing like it is with genders. But I just hope not. I'm like, oh, Trump is awesome. So we got to change this. We removed the tampons out the bathroom. We started on a good note, but I'm like, this is crazy. We can't start identifying skinny when we're fat or fat when we're skinny. Yeah, vice versa. I don't want skinny people over here talking about, oh, I have a fat mentality, so I identify as fat either. It's both ways. It's both is delusional. But yeah, man, I hate that this woman is getting the clout that she's getting. And I hate even more that it's a black woman and this is Black History Month. And this is not what Martin Luther King fought for, as some people will say. He didn't fight for obese women to go around thinking they're entitled to everything in the world just because, they had a quote unquote rough childhood and, been fat their whole life and had people, tell them it's okay to be fat their whole lives and thinking, it's okay to be that big and to demand everybody else be okay with it. He didn't die for this. Nope. This is not okay, guys. And the fact that I found out later that the Lyft guy actually got let go. I don't know if that's actually factual, but that's what I looked up and saw, that this Lyft driver lost his job, and she went on this interview saying, Dank Demoss was on the interview saying that, it wasn't her fault. She did not contact him or Lyft about him in order to lose his job. But I'm just like, girl, you made a whole video. You made a whole video recording yourself with this man discriminating you and filed a lawsuit. Discriminating against you, and filed a lawsuit. Talking about you're not the one who made him. Yeah, maybe you didn't make the decision, but the decision was made based on your video. I guarantee you. And the fact that they said in the interview she said that Lyft offered an apology, which they should not have at all. See, again, just feeding into this illusion, giving people apologies that don't deserve it. I hate when companies like this don't stand on their ground and be like, no, they should have been like, no, you were too big. The Lyft driver had every right to refuse you. I'm sorry you felt some type of way, but it is what it is. That's what they should have said, but they apologized. But did she accept their apology? No. She said she didn't want it. She was like, I live this every day. It is what it is. I have to fight every single day. I'm like, girl, bye. You chose this. Regardless if your parents are fat, yes, it definitely would have been harder for you to lose the weight. But it's hard for you to be fat. Like, pick your hard. Do you want the tough life, hard fat, or hard skinny? Candace said it best. Life is hard. Get a helmet. Figure it out. The fact that you're mad at the world for your bad decisions is a huge problem. And I love that Charlemagne put in the idea. He was like, he said that, she compared her discrimination to, the discrimination that LGBTQIA gets, right? And he was like, well, people probably are hounding you more, or not as lenient when it comes to, what you went through, being understanding about it, is because she has a choice, where trans people or gay people don't have a choice. And you could argue that, that's not true. And I'm glad. And then Just the Hilarious steps in. He was like, what you mean gay people don't have a choice to be gay? Because that's actually a good question. Gay people definitely have the choice. Trans people definitely have the choice to not transition. Gay people have the choice to not be attracted to the same sex. But anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But to Charlemagne's point, it's like, no, I mean, you do have a choice. She does have a choice to be slimmer. She can lose the weight. She said she has lost the weight. She lost 100 and something pounds she gained after her dad died, getting, back and, getting into rapping and wanting to lose the weight because she knew she didn't want to be over 600. She didn't want to continue on that journey. It's like, okay, you had the mindset to lose the 100 something pounds. Why not have the goal to lose the extra 200 pounds? She can do it. She just chooses not to. Or she, what it really is, she feeds off the attention. She really does. Even though she says she hates when people come up to her and be like, you're fat. And it's like, some people value attention so much, it doesn't matter what you're saying as long as you're getting the attention. And that's what I feel like. Because if you really, really thought you were struggling being so fat, you would figure out a way. You would do everything possible in order to lose that weight. But she's not. Instead, she's recording Lyft drivers, and then going on the Breakfast Club, talking about her weight, talking about, I have a skinny mentality, so I don't need to lose weight. All right, then shut up and go about your day. Don't get mad when the Lyft driver refuses for you to get into his car. Continue dealing with the things obese people have to deal with. But again, she thinks it's okay also. And this is another factor. She thinks it's okay also. And I said this repeatedly because we accepted it. She said that, on Southwest, she can get an extra seat without paying for an extra seat. And that shouldn't be a case. That shouldn't be the case. If you take up 2-3 seats, you need to pay for those 2-3 seats. It's unfair to the people who are slim, can fit into one seat, now have to give up their seat, a potential seat, because you eat too much. I can't get into this acceptance of behavior, because again, it's so detrimental to our community, our society, and I want no parts in it. And again, we gotta stop making these people famous. We gotta stop rewarding this bad behavior with interviews and features and all this other stuff. It'd be crazy now all of a sudden all these rappers come out and start featuring her on songs. I just, again, and I've said this so many times, it's like I want to root for us as Black people, right? But it seems like every day there's a story, someone of color, someone Black is doing something stupid. Doing something crazy. And it's like, dang, enough is enough. Enough is enough, guys. And Black people, and other Black people are saying, the fact that she went on an all-Black show, Breakfast Club, and talked about her story and how she, doesn't feel like she got to lose weight. It's just like, why did Black people even accept this woman on their show? We shouldn't be entertaining this. Trust me, it was funny to watch, but not, again, it's like funny to watch in the sense of how delusional she looks. I'm laughing at her, not with her. This is not cute. We shouldn't normalize this. Dank Demoss, Deja Blanding. Lose the weight. Lose the weight if you're going to complain about what you're going through. You're not entitled to anything in this world. Like, even skinny people, we're not entitled to things in this world just because we're slim. It's like, no. You have to reap the consequences of your actions. And unfortunately, this Lyft situation is a consequence of your actions. And until you understand that, you're always going to struggle. And that's all I gotta say about that. All right, guys, please like this video if you like this video. Please comment always. I love to hear you guys' opinions. And subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Bye.
Aquel día el instinto nos decía que esa noche juntico no quería, que las ganas bebé nos ganaría, pero no fue así. Vamos lento, ya, que si nos apuramos no disfrutamos del momento, ya, y lo vamos a arruinar. Dale lento, ya, dile a tus amigas que hoy no vas para afuera. ella sabe que quiero a mi mamacita. Ella también quiere que seamos felices. Ella, la que se apresura a la vueltica. Ella es sin timidez. Como la ves, no le importa dónde y cuándo. Pero nada no he hecho, no soy el que la mando. Nunca lo seré, su carácter no es de niña, que la puede controlar cualquiera. Y me encanta, yo lo sé, independiente. Vamos lento y verás. Y me encanta, yo lo sé, independiente. Vamos lento y verás. Vamos lento, ya, que si nos apuramos no disfrutamos del momento, ya, y lo vamos a arruinar. Dale lento, ya, dile a tus amigas que hoy no vas para afuera, que estás en la escuela. Y vamos los 7 días de la semana, te doy de mañana. Y consejos sabes que no es, te doy el desquite, que me quites todas esas ganas